Greetings, everyone. I imagine most of you teachers will agree that one of the greatest feelings for teachers and students is when we feel like we are working together. Students know the teacher is looking out for them, and the teacher knows students are doing their part. And one of the first steps in making this happen is feeling like there is a connection between us, the teacher, and our students. I'm going to share with you some amazing research that explains how we can make connections with others. And best of all, there are ways that we can apply this to building positive relationships between us teachers and our students. To illustrate, let me tell you about an experience I once had with a student. I was starting a conferencing session with a new student, Angie. As she was sitting down next to me, she said, "David, I heard that you grew up in Chicago. I just had a homestay there." I noticed that I immediately felt a connection to Angie, and this has stayed with me from that day on. I felt like, we were in the same in-group. In the book, Click, The Power of Instant Connections, the authors describe some enlightening experiments. In one study, some people volunteered for a made-up study about creativity. The researchers secretly set it up so that when half the volunteers left the researchers' lab, someone wearing a badge with the same first name as the volunteer approached them asking for a donation to a charity. For example, if Cindy had just left the lab, she would be approached by a charity worker wearing a name tag that showed that her name also was Cindy. Likewise, Susan would meet someone named Susan. The other half of the subjects were approached by someone with no badge. Now, this is what I found remarkable. The first group, whose same first names were on badges, donated twice as much as the second group who saw no badge. In a similar experiment, researchers approached people and asked them if they would be willing to participate in a time-consuming study. When the researchers shared the same birth date as the person, 62% agreed to participate, but only 33% agreed when they didn't have the same birth date. So according to the authors, similarity leads to greater likability, and it does not matter what the similarity is. Others will perceive the person as part of their in-group if they share common traits that differentiate them from others. In addition, the quality of the similarity is not important. It's the number of similarities that matters. The more similarities you have, the stronger the connection. Now, this is how we can apply this to our classrooms. So I think it's safe to say that feeling a connection between our students and us can bring great benefits to us and them. As the studies above have illustrated, any kind of similarities that we can find between us and them will likely result in connectiveness. So whenever I've had a chance to point out some similarity between a student and me, for example, when they arrive to class, or when they're leaving, or during a break, or as with Angie during a conference, I try to recall some simple thing I overheard them say, or something they wrote, or just an observation. For example, one of my students, Saudi, is from Japan. And I said to her, "When I lived in Nagoya, one of my best students' name was Saudi." Also, for my student Alejandra, I said, "Alejandra, I read in your essay that you love horses. I'm planning to go horseback riding during our next vacation." And I noticed my student Elo was wearing the same cool, same color shirt as I was. Pointing to my shirt and his, I said, "Hey, Elo, it looks like we're on the same team." And finally, I used this technique with a student whose name was Sean. He came to my class with a reputation as a troublemaker. The day after getting his first assignment, I put his paper next to something I had written and said, "Hey Sean, it looks like you and I have similar handwriting. Look how we both write our D's and P's." And a week later, I told him, "I overheard you say that you drive a Toyota. I do too. How do you like yours?" The next day when he came to class, he showed me some pictures of his. Now, I can't prove that it was because of this technique, but I can say that I never had any trouble with Sean. I put together a short reading unit about this topic. If you'd like to use it with your students, you can find it in the link below. Thanks for watching.